Chapter 17, Drug Abuse Prevention. Potential factors that influence drug use can be seen in this figure. Many factors influence an individual's views, attitudes, and behaviors towards drug use. Influences don't operate alone, but interact with each other and the individual. Comprehensive programs must address all of these factors in order to be successful. Looking at this diagram, you have environmental influences, interpersonal and societal influences, and individual influences. Starting with the environmental influences, these items include the cost of alcohol and other drugs, federal laws concerning them, minimum purchase age, marketing, and the portrayal in movies and television. Your interpersonal and societal influences include peers, school policies, local law enforcement, personal situations, parents, and the community. And those individual influences include personality traits, attitudes and beliefs, genetics, and interpersonal and peer resistance skills. Drug prevention. Prevention is an organized activity designed to avoid or decrease health problems, and drug prevention programs are aimed at preventing and or decreasing health, social, and personal problems. Levels of prevention. There is primary, secondary, and tertiary prevention. Primary drug prevention programs are aimed at non-users or those who are at risk in order to avoid development of addictive behaviors. Secondary drug prevention programs identify problems of use before overt symptoms or problems occur. And tertiary drug prevention programs are interventions and treatments of medical consequences to prevent further disability. Usually all three levels are used in combination in drug prevention programs. Considering the audience and approach. Drug users vary in their exposure and past history of substance abuse. The audience for drug prevention is comprised of both users and non-users. Non-users, experimenters, and non-problem users. Committed users, problem users, and former users. Drug prevention programs must cater to the specific needs of the different types of users. Non-problem, education on abuse and reinforce that uncontrolled use leads to abuse. Those that are committed, prevent or delay drug abuse. And former, reinforce the decision to stop. Comprehensive prevention programs for drug use and abuse. The harm reduction model is a broad and comprehensive model that involves society-wide prevention. The addiction model that connects with the addicted community. By having an open door policy that welcomes addicts to take part in services, regardless of the level of motivation for change, goals, or personal ideology. They meet addicts on their own level. The only connection to the U.S. punitive model has with the addicted population is when they're arrested and or jailed. Community-based drug prevention, the primary goal is to provide coordinated programs among the numerous agencies and organizations, such as youth, parents, businesses, etc. They are involved in prevention. Multiple integrated and non-overlapping components. They use media and community education for awareness. They reach different at-risk groups and often are monitored by a board of relevant stakeholders. Attention on legal and social environments is important. They're supported as viable and cost-effective. School-based drug prevention are early programs used that involved scare tactics, and typically these were unsuccessful. Evidence-based drug education is based on life skills that offer personal, social resistance, and communication skills. They provide information about the short-term effects by trained teachers. They include cognitive, affective, a combination of cognitive and affective, social learning, and cognitive behavioral and normal education. Curriculum-based drug education objectives are tailored to elementary, junior, and high school, as well as college-age youth. Family-based prevention programs. Family management practices that impair skills youth can use to resist social pressures to use can help to protect them. The focus on parent-child interaction strategies, communication skills, and child management practices, as well as family management skills. You need to do the following: reach families at each stage of development, train parents in behavioral skills. This includes consistent discipline and monitoring, having a relationship with the children, and include education for parents, access to counseling for those who are at risk. These are just a few examples of large-scale drug prevention programs. Typically, these programs are in the category of ATOD, which is alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs. One of these programs is BACUS. It's a peer education network program. It stands for Boosting Alcohol Consciousness Concerning the Health of University Students. National University and Community-based network that focuses on comprehensive health and safety initiatives. It started with primarily alcoholism. The focus on sexual responsibility, tobacco use, marijuana use, and sexual assault. Peer-based students can play a unique, effective role versus having a professional work with students in encouraging peers to consider, talk honestly about, and develop responsible habits and attitudes towards high-risk health and safety issues. They actively promote student and youth-based campus and community-wide leadership on health and safe lifestyle decisions. We have an excellent ATOD program at Cal State Long Beach. If you're interested in becoming available, you can, on our Cal State website, you can search for Linda Pena. She's the head of our ATOD program. And if you want to volunteer or receive resources, she is your best resource. FIPSE, Drug Prevention Programs, is the fund for the improvement of post-secondary education. These are peer-based efforts, so students are used as peer educators, mentors, counselors, or facilitators of prevention and outreach programs. It requires careful training and supervision. Curriculum infusion. They infuse topics across the curriculum with open discussion of drugs as part of a normal education process. Stimulates critical thinking about drug issues. Improvisational theater groups. So lively, stimulating, provocative, breakthrough peer and institutional denial bring issues home with dramatic emotional impact. It helps to change the misperceptions of use or misperceptions of peer norms. Also, it provides alternative events. So alternatives to, for example, using during holiday or other events. Maybe creating events that are alcohol-free. And also a change in marketing of alcohol on and near campuses. The DARE program, it was a short-term improve students' views of themselves and increase the sense of personal responsibility. There really was no measurable significant change in drug use due to being a part of DARE. Many kids have reported that DARE introduced them to drugs. They learned about drugs through DARE. Another problem is that drug education has been presented by uninformed police officers. Also, it sends a wrong message that drugs are a law enforcement issue rather than a public health issue. Drug courts. The underlying premise of a drug court is that drug possession and use is not a criminal justice problem, but a public health problem. A multidisciplinary team approach with the criminal justice agencies collaborate closely with substance abuse treatment community and other social institutions. The key goal is to divert abusers to supervised community treatment centers to eliminate destructive behavior, treating drug addiction and criminal behavior instead of simply punishing. Drug courts, how do they work? Eligible drug addicted persons may be sent to drug court in lieu of traditional justice system case processing. Treatment and supervision for a minimum term of 1 year, and participants are provided with intense treatment and other services if they require them. They're held accountable by the drug court judge for meeting their obligations to the court, society, themselves, and their families. They are subjected to random testing for drug use. They're required to appear in court frequently so that the judge may review their progress, and they're rewarded for doing well or sanctioned when they do not live up to their obligations. General treatment phase consists of detoxification, which is the removal of physical dependence, stabilization, which is treating the psychological cravings, and aftercare, which helps to obtain education, job training, employment, and help them to remain drug-free. Drug courts outperform virtually all other strategies that have been attempted for drug offenders. There have been significant reductions in rearrests, crime, and less drug use, better improvements in family relationships, increased employment and income. They're most cost-effective when you compare to incarceration. They cost from $1,200 to $3,500 versus $5,000 for incarceration. They may have an innate desire to alter conscious state, so there may be a natural process. So those who do not use drugs may have found positive alternatives to altering their consciousness. Alternative approaches replace the pleasurable feelings gained from drug abuse with involvement in social and educational activities. Meditation is high in the natural mind approach. And that is the end of Chapter 17.